Hi, this is Michael Wan, News Director for Radio Korea, and this is Culture Shock, where we talk about politics, economy, culture, entertainment, etc. to expand the Korean American community's knowledge.
And expand we shall. I am Young Kim, Content Director at Radio Korea. Thank you for joining us on this 50th episode. Woo!
Oh, is it already 50th?
5-0.
Were you counting? Or somebody just told you?
I'm not 50 yet, thank God. But our show is at its 50th episode. And for this special 50th episode, we're introducing our CEO, Michael Kim, in the house. Good day.
Good day. Good day. Good evening.
Yeah,
I think
good
he's a third timer. This is your third time.
Yes, thanks for introducing me, though. Yeah, thank
Hey,
you.
happy 50th.
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be here as the 50th guest, 50th show guest.
Yeah.
What do you think about the 50 episodes that we've aired so far as Chief Executive Officer of Radio Korea?
Yeah, because
Michael?
you had a vision of trying to we introduced,
of love.
expanding the Korean American community's knowledge, and you wanted to get out of the mainstream.
And we also wanted to go nationwide too.
Narrative.
Yeah, I think it's going good, and by the time we reach 100, which will be pretty soon, it seems, because it's only been 2.5 months.
Ever since April 7th, I
April
understand.
7th. Okay, yeah. So pretty soon we'll be at 100, and we made some new, upgrades to the way we do things. So the show quality will, I think it's been getting better, and it'll continue to get better. So to all our listeners and viewers, stay tuned because it's gonna get way better. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about these black T-shirts with that logo right here. There, where's that logo? Oh, it's over there. That logo right there, the 문화충격 logo, and like a black T-shirt.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yeah.
The logo there.
Or would it seem like kind of like a restaurant?
Trying to do some sales here right now.
I don't know. I'm thinking merchandise right now. I'm seeding for the merchandise.
He wants to make a T-shirt out of that logo. 문화충격,
that logo
and
right
sell
here.
it.
There it is,
and-
right there.
right.
It's a nice logo, right?
So what's on your mind, Michael, these days?
Wait, now that you talk about the logo, I
okay.
saw a comment yesterday that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The dragon, satanic.
Yeah, there was apparently some
Intro.
a particular Christian commenter who thought, I guess, the dragon intro was satanic or something.
I don't know exactly whether he or she said satanic. What did
Well, I mean,
what did
I
that
had
individual
actually,
say?
I even have like a comment about like the tattoo on my arm, the dragon.
Oh yeah,
how
people
it's,
comment about your tattoo.
it's satanic, and they're like, roll your sleeves down. And I'm
But it
like,
doesn't
no,
mean satanic stuff, right?
You know?
You just did it for coolness, right?
I'm so cool.
Coolness factor.
No, because
right?
remember when we first started this show, we're both born. Oh, you're Toki, right?
I'm actually Toki. Yeah, but
So he
Yeah.
wants. So he's gonna pay for all of us because he's the young in the house,
no,
right?
but we just decided to go because it's kind of like the
But you're
edge of the
Chilyuk, right? But you're Chilyuk, right?
Yongti.
But you are Chilyuk, right?
If you go by the Western calendar, right?
Because I think if you count the Chinese calendar, we have Chinese birthdays.
Right,
you know
right,
that, right? So we have. I mean,
So
if
yeah,
we follow
if you're
the
like
protocol,
a January, then right, I understand.
January.
What is
How
your
about
animal?
February?
That's a secret, but no, I'm a monkey. But no, like with Michael, yeah, I know you're
You mean like 75?
technically
people.
like you're born in 76, but because of the month, you're actually like 75. But still, I thought
I
originally
understand. I
the
understand.
project was called
Yep.
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Yeah,
Like the video game.
yeah. But then
Like this one, right? This one.
Yeah.
Right?
There was.
I
a
have
Double
yet to
Dragon.
see anybody hit people. Like
Have you
this,
played
right?
Contra?
yeah, up, down, left, right, BA start. Right.
What is that? Contra? Is that
You
Contra?
don't know Contra then?
Wait, wasn't that the Super NES cheat code? Was that it?
It's a NES cheat code.
Oh, never mind. Anyhow, there was Contra.
But anyway, yeah.
Galaga.
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 And then Centipede, all those video games.
Right.
Did Galaga come out after Pac-Man? Or Pac-Man is a little bit earlier?
Oh, they're so. I mean, they came out after Pong, that's for sure.
Pong. Now that's something the kids these days will never know of. They're like, "Gosh, you played that? What is that?" It's just
And
like a
Kung
bunch of
Fu
blocks
kind of
going
came
back
out
and
a little
forth,
bit
right?
later, right? Kung Fu, right?
Kung
Bruce
Fu.
Lee.
Oh, is that the one that was in Bloodsport with Van Damme? He was playing
Oh, that was a good game. That was a
Right?
good game.
Yeah.
And then Street Fighter.
Street
know,
Fighter
Street Fighter
was
is
a
when
game
things started
changer.
changing.
Dude,
yeah.
That was a game changer.
Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, 2.
Like
the
I
first
ditched
one
a
didn't.
year of class for Street Fighter. That was so stupid.
So Street Fighter 2, I just put Peg 1 and I could play like 4 or 5 hours.
Who was your character?
Ken.
Oh, Ken.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick Ken instead of Ryu?
Ryu?
Oh, because Ken, when they do,
Shoryuken?
yeah, 승용권.
Ken's is
When
further up,
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
The
yeah.
angle's
So
more
they-
aggressive.
he had an edge there.
And then-
I initially I only chose Ryu, but
Yeah.
then Ryu has a more powerful,
Hadouken?
The
Yeah.
fireball.
That is more
whatever.
powerful. But if you do,
I
if you're
see.
actually like competing, Ken is, it has an advantage.
Ken's
When you
better,
do it together, Ken wins.
Have you guys ever played against a really good Dalsim player?
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Dude,
Yeah,
Dalsim, dude,
yeah, I
you
know,
can't get
yeah.
close to him. He's just going, yoga fire, stretch, yoga fire, yoga flame.
No,
I do
I-
wonder how many people even understand
I
this.
think
I'm sure everyone does.
I think Guile.
I used to play with Guile.
No,
yeah.
Guile.
You're a Guile guy.
were
Initially,
the
yeah.
were the difficult opponents for
Like
me.
the Guile guys, they could play the sumo guy. They could play like the all the charge characters, right? Balrog.
Yeah, Balrog,
Who else?
you're
There's a
right.
Blanca.
Right.
Blanca
When you
was
say
pretty good.
Balrog, are you talking about the guy
boxer guy.
the boxer guy?
Yeah,
right?
in Japan it was
in
different,
Japan
right?
it's Bison.
Yeah, that's right. They named him
switched
after
up-
Mike
they
Tyson.
switched it around. I think they had a
Yeah.
copyright issue with Mike Tyson. So
Yeah, so
that's
Bison
why,
was
yeah.
the Russian guy.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Bison.
some fun stuff. Remember Bison? Bison was
he
the
was
bad
in,
guy.
Thailand, right?
Yeah. No. That's
some accuse
Vega is Spain.
Tiger
Vega.
uppercut.
Vega is
Saget.
Spain.
Yeah.
Vega is Spain.
Thailand
Saget
was Saget.
wasn't Saget and Bison both in Thailand?
I think Bison was Russian.
Oh my God,
wasn't
this
he?
conversation.
Yeah,
Wow.
Saget is Thailand. You're right.
Hey,
I'm
we
sorry.
just spent
I'm sorry to the audience.
like
I'm sorry.
6 minutes talking about Street Fighter. Okay.
Oh my
But
God,
anyway,
6
yeah,
minutes
we
of this,
started off as a
wow.
double dragon. That was our initial title, but we changed.
Actually, we were deciding like what is a good, and then one of the ideas I think you came up with. You're like, hey, how about culture shock? And we're like, oh yeah, that works because that's what we're,
Yeah.
And then even when people complain about Young's tattoo, it's like, hey, well, that's your culture shock, isn't it? So
Actually, we had almost like 2-hour meeting, I think, to come up with the final title. First off, we were just about to decide. With
I wanted
Double
the red
Dragon,
pill.
but
you guys wanted the red pill, right?
no, but you are right. Red pill definitely means more. It gives a strong conservative connotation with it. So I think red pill doesn't fly.
Right, but I
'Cause
think it's
wanna talk
because
with
you guys had the
everybody.
Matrix chairs here, right?
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
was
You're right.
why.
That's why you're right.
And then the red
exactly.
pill was to mean truth, not a certain political affiliation.
So one of our news team's reporter, I wouldn't name, but that individual said they would choose the blue pill. That kind of disappointed me.
So they just want to stay in the in
He,
the
she,
fantasy world.
I don't
or
want to
she,
tell.
or
I don't want
they,
to tell.
or-
I don't want to
Okay.
tell. But we like red pillars.
But
We like red
my
pillars.
wife, she's the type that would say, I'd rather have the blue pill then.
Really?
I don't want to know. I just want to be happy. I want to live my life, and then be content with everything. I understand that though. There's some certain personalities that don't really want to find out the truth or don't really want to dig in. You're the personality. You're a truth seeker. And I'm a truth seeker. And
The word would be
I
red
think
pillars.
everyone in media, most people in media are truth seekers
No, I don't think the mainstream
unless
media
they're
reporters.
gaslit
No, not
and brainwashed.
Not the mainstream journalists. I
Really?
don't think they are red pillars.
Well,
I think they're
they're-
blue pilling the heck out of people. Isn't that what's going on?
Blue pill
Isn't
or
that
red
why
pill?
we started our show?
Red pill, obviously.
I mean, I'd always take the red pill. Sure, I'm always curious to know what's going on, even if it's messed up. Yeah,
Yeah, you will go down the rabbit hole, right?
yeah. I've even on the internet, I've come across like very disturbing things, like videos and things like. Yeah.
Have
But
you ever
I
gone on the
always like
dark
to look
web?
I have been on the dark web.
How? How do you know how to do
You
it?
got to use
Tornet, right?
the Tor project.
Yeah.
It's like a
Like an onion thing, right?
yeah, it's like an onion. So you got to peel layers of to
Yeah.
get to these sites or whatever. And I went on this dark website called I think it was the Silk Road, right?
Silk Road was very popular.
And
back
I
in
was
the
going
day.
on the Silk Road. I would look on there, and I was like, wow, look at all this stuff you can get on here. So they had a whole because somebody I knew had used it to buy drugs.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you order drugs on the Silk Road, you pay in maybe crypto or whatever it is.
What year was this?
Probably
Oh,
I think
Recent or like
I think Silk
2010s?
Road was banned a couple years ago.
10, 15 years.
Oh,
I don't know.
long
It's
time
been
ago.
more than 10
Wow,
years, though.
you're like what is it, early, what?
But Silk Road is now banned. It's
Well,
banned
yeah,
since like
but
5
still.
years ago. I think.
took one look at the site and I looked around for maybe like an hour, 2 hours because I was fascinated by what I was seeing
Yeah.
on there. And you can buy like, of course, weed and cocaine, ecstasy, all that stuff.
Weapons too, right?
Right. But the crazy thing is you could buy things like poison, like cyanide.
Wow.
No way.
And the other thing that I found was you could hire assassins to kill people.
You can even do that there.
Right. So I found on there, it's like, okay, do you just want to kill a nobody? That's like, for example, 10 grand. If it's a politician, a VIP, it's like 100 grand, whatever it was. And just seeing, and the weapons and everything, I was like, okay, this area is a bit scary. and
Wow.
I don't think I ever looked at that again.
But
And
probably-
I stopped going on the dark web.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of gangs go there, I would think, to hire like those, hitmen and all that kind of stuff.
No idea. I think what happened though was
He got busted.
He got busted, yes.
Who?
The
Silk Road
the
dude.
creator of
and he was like
Silk
some
Road.
dork, right?
No, I
Yeah.
remember there was years ago there was a story where like some well-known tech person or some tech influencer type had tried to hire an assassin, I think, off the dark web, but it was maybe like an FBI agent. Anyway, it was like an undercover thing, and then anyway that person got caught. So maybe those things are not even real, and if you try to actually use the services, maybe that's just a trap to look for, people who want to kill. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Um,
But my friend did. I wouldn't say a friend. A person I know, he was able to successfully get drugs on there because he lives in like Australia or something.
That's how a lot of the Korean kids are getting drugs now. Not off the dark web, but just off of like messengers like Telegram or one of those WhatsApps or Kakao Talk. Even they have these groups where they just like search drugs and then boom, they just go in there and they have people that are dropping it off at certain locations.
in Korea.
Yeah, so like in
are
apartments.
you saying Korea, not here?
Yeah. Why?
Really? I think in Korea, isn't it much more difficult? to
Dude, you should see the reports lately, man. It's like right now, it's like you just get on any kind of an application and then you can ask for drugs, and it's like a no-see service. Like you don't even meet your drug dealer. You just like do it, and then they tell you to leave money inside like a fire hydrant or something over here at this location, and they put it over there, and then they go back 20 minutes later, and then they pick it up. And there's so many people doing drugs over there. It's like one of the biggest things. I think it's like increased like 100-fold.
like meth and
See, the thing is that Korea tends to like
Heroin.
mash all drugs together, even weed or Class A or whatever, whatnot. They mash everything together. But I think one of the biggest drugs is probably meth and even what is it called, fentanyl, and they're getting it legally too, like legally through like these drug stores.
Because one would think that in Korea, the enforcement and the regulation is really tight and it's different from here. I think in the United States, I don't think there is enforcement, to be honest with you. I think they probably enforce it to the sellers, but not the
like states
purchaser,
like
but
Oregon, they decriminalize
they
it. So no
decriminalized
matter
it, yeah.
whether it's hard
Yeah.
drugs or whatnot, narcotics, everything's decriminalized over there. But there was a report in Korea, media report that was saying that Korean report that was blaming America for this phenomenon.
Because in America, they legalized marijuana
So
all the way around.
cannabis is
pretty much,
legal.
right?
So that's one of the
26
reasons
states?
that
Is it 26 states
I
right
think
now?
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
But
so-
it's more states are joining as we go.
Yeah, and we have a lot of foreign students here coming from Korea or Japan or China, or obviously I bet a lot of them try it, right? When
Yeah.
they come over here, they're curious about it, and then they would probably bring it over there to
That's
their
definitely-
to their home
definitely.
country.
Well,
and,
also LA is or Southern California is really like the home to the largest Korean community outside of the Korean
That is
Peninsula. So, I sometimes refer to like the capital of South Korea is Seoul, capital of North Korea is
Pyongyang.
Pyongyang, and I say if there's a West Korea,
It's LA.
it's LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like the third capital for Koreans.
Yeah, I would
think.
say LA is like the capital of all the Korean
Yeah.
재외동포, right?
Yeah.
They
Sure,
all
yeah,
live
you could
here.
actually say, the capital of the Korean diaspora.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were also in this report, this Korean report, they were checking out these dispensaries where a lot of Koreans frequent, and they're bringing their, passports because they don't have license here. And then they were talking about how many Korean people come, and they were also telling us about how they warned the Korean customers, telling them that hey, you can enjoy it here, but if you try to take it with you, then it's going to become a problem. So that was all in this Korean report, right? But speaking of reports, we just touched up on a small report yesterday by CNN, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is this about the Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Before we get into that, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, my last appearance on here.
Oh, okay. Sorry
it
about
was
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to address a comment that somebody made.
Okay.
I think we should address those
Yeah, I
comments,
think
right?
so. Yeah,
Okay.
why don't go ahead? Yeah,
I am Christian.
I think that we do need to have some back and forth with our users.
Yeah, so somebody commented about
it's- yeah.
hey, how come it was something about me not voting.
Oh,
I have
okay,
voted local, but they said basically along the lines of Koreans don't vote, that's why we have no presence and we're ignored. So we must vote. So I just wanted to address that. So I wanted to say I'm not against voting. I think it's fine to vote, and I have voted.
Yes.
Not for like president, but
Other local races.
yeah, the main point that I was making I got to look at my notes here, but the main point I was making is that the voting, the politics and all that, it's more of a game. And, we're all free to play it. And, it's nice to play and be a part of it, but don't get fooled into thinking that, your vote actually matters. And more importantly than that was to not let the politics of this country divide you away from your to cause problems in your actual relationships, because your actual real life relationships much more important than whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I mean, spouses and families and friends, like over this theater. So that was my main point there. And then additionally, back to voting. So if you look at like 2008 and 2012,
Obama
of the black voters, over 90% of them, I think 95% in 2008, 93% maybe in 2012, voted for Obama. That's like total, like
almost
right?
all of them. Right?
So what did they get from that? Are the lives of black people better?
They got Obama phones.
I wouldn't think so.
Obama. Okay, I don't know what that. I kind of vaguely remember.
Remember the Obama phone?
Yeah, but are they better off now? We had Occupy Wall Street, where he sided with Wall Street over the people, and then there was the Black Lives Matter movement started under his administration.
Yes,
and
it really did.
So what happened? Nothing.
I think
good vibes, good feelings. He was very charismatic, very intelligent guy, but intelligent president. But he wasn't able to do anything for them, even if he wanted to. And I've watched a speech from Obama. I think it was in the 90s. That he did this speech, and based on the way he was talking, I could see that he was a genuine guy.
Back in the day, before he got into politics, and he was very aware of enlightened or whatever, woke, whatever you want to call it. And he was even talking about Malcolm X, and later he was joining that. He was in that church, Trinity Church, whatever, in Chicago with the was Jeremiah Wright, right?
That's the one where all the famous people, Bieber, right?
No. I mean, Jeremiah Wright.
He's like a Christian Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
But he had an anti-America component to his preaching, and he criticized America of bombing nuclear bombs in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, etc.
So he would be like, "God damn America." He would say that, "God damn America."
Yeah. So I wouldn't say like Obama was woke, but he was a little bit different. I read his book. His first book was Dreams of My Father. He sounded kind of mature and in a way a little bit conservative than I thought. But anyway,
did that book come out in the 90s?
I think it did.
Because
yes.
the speech was actually, I think, to promote that book that he had just written, Dreams of My Father.
Dreams of My Father. Yeah.
But I realized, like, okay, so because by the time I saw the speech, I was kind of already like, okay, I don't like this guy, because here we have the first, black president, even though he's half black.
That's
first
true.
black
You're
president.
right.
Yeah, why is it if you're half black, you're black,
Many
you're not
people
white?
forget that fact that his mom is white from Kansas, right?
Shirley Ann, right?
But his mom's like white.
White, yeah.
Yeah, that's
all
the thing.
White.
So we had the first black president, and I didn't really think, and I kind of was, even when he won in 2008, I was like, all right, this is cool. I don't think anything good will come of this, like anything better, but this is cool. And then over the next 8 years, just disappointments.
And
mainly
very disappointing.
Including Libya. I'm like, okay. And then there was a rap song I heard. I think it was by Dead Prez. They're kind of like radical, like leftist rappers, but they were going hard on Obama, saying like, the line went something like, the first black president, the masses were hungry, but the same president just bombed an African country.
Yeah, I mean,
completely destroyed Libya.
Somalia too, right? Didn't he bomb the heck?
He bombed Somalia, but he, and I won't say it's Obama that made that decision. It's just the pressure, because it's not like the president really runs the country. Because
military.
When he was running, he said he was going to shut down
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are aware.
Guantanamo
For people
Bay.
who don't know, the U.S. has a military base in Cuba.
Is it still there?
It's not even in America.
It's Cuba, I think it's the oldest naval base.
There's still there.
It's the
Patriot
oldest
Act trickles down to this very day, where people are taking like terrorists or suspected terrorists and locking them up there. Is that what's happening?
No. Okay. First of all, this base has been there for over 100 years. I think it's the oldest foreign naval base of the United States, and before they were invited, before the the Cuban Revolution, whatever, with Castro, so under the previous government, Batista government, they were fine with the U.S. there. But the new Cuban government that's been in power, like 60 something years now, they don't want America there. They want America out. But what are they going to do? They don't have the power to kick America out, right? So anyway, America does have their naval base there, and then they have a prison where they bring people from thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers away and engage in things like torture.
Violating human rights, that's what you're saying.
Right. And it's something that, I mean, can you imagine, like, if another country like Russia or China occupied another country and had a prison there where they would torture foreigners? Like, why don't we, if we're going to do that, why wouldn't we do it in like Louisville or,
because it's against the law, right?
Annandale or in Atlanta? Like, why does it have to be over there? But
it's
anyway,
domestic, right?
Yeah, right. So Obama said, like, the first thing he was going to do, or one of the first things he was going to do when he becomes president, is shut down Guantanamo Bay.
I remember,
which is a good thing. We're, if we are of good values and things, we should be against torture. But once he became president, he didn't. He wasn't able to.
No.
Why? I'm sure he wanted to, but
pressure.
No matter what you say during
Pressure,
the campaign and during the election campaign, like, once you get into power, that's when the reality kicks in. It's like, okay, who is your real boss now? And he had to, he had to play by the rules. And I don't think he really wanted to, destroy Libya like that. But that's what he was pressured to do. So,
I think he had to probably go through a lot of private meetings, Obama, and then these power people, the puppet masters, and they say, hey, come on, I would like to have a meeting with you. And then probably the big fundraisers. And then they would say, I know that you said this, you're going to do this. Your election pledges is this, but this is a nada. You can't do it. And I think that's what happened in these backroom deals. And Obama, I think, being a good,
puppet?
probably, I think he was. I supported Obama, and I think he was. He was pretty much an establishment figure. And I think the division between the whites and the blacks got
increased.
further. Yeah, it increased. Yeah. I don't think so. The only positive thing I would say, probably, I was in a gym and I saw,
like, gym as in like working out.
Yeah, working out. And then there was Obama giving a speech, and there were black dudes working out, and they were looking at him. And
you work out, huh?
Back in the day, yeah, but I still do. I work out, but anyway, they were kind of. I could feel that they were proud.
Sure.
So that kind of, I would say mental.
Yeah, I mean, morale went up.
Morale,
like,
it lifted up their
tenfold.
morale.
Yeah,
I would
course.
say probably only that one.
After all those
only
years of oppression and slavery, and it's like a black president rises up from the ranks. Of course, they were proud, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but then this goes back to wonderful, great. Even I got like, wow, this is,
Yeah, I was
moved
too.
Even though I was against him from the start, I was moved because I think back then I supported,
because better than Hillary,
I supported Ron Paul actually back then, because Ron Paul was he was basically a libertarian, but in the Republican Party.
But I didn't get like the presidential sense from Ron Paul for some reason.
Because
the presidential force.
Ron Paul, of all the decades he spent in Congress, he has never had a bill that was signed by the president ever. None of his bill that he put up got signed. So
it's
you
like
can
Bernie
see
Sanders.
that he doesn't know how to play this political game, and he was too much of an outsider.
Right, but anyway, I guess I'm more of an idealist and principles, whatever. But anyway, I didn't actually vote for him, but he was the one that I supported the most. But then eventually it came down to Obama and McCain. And even out of those two, I was like, if people asked me and like forced me, I would have been like, okay, like maybe a slight 1% edge to McCain.
Okay. You didn't like the mainstream media just fawning over Obama, right? I get that kind of
I
sense.
didn't have a problem with Obama, and I kind of actually didn't like McCain because I thought he was racist towards
blacks,
Asians. What he said about I think he called them gooks or something. And
he was a POW in Vietnam.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, yeah, you went over there, and then you get mad at them for defending themselves, and then you still call them gooks. Like, okay, and I'm, what am I? So
hey, the word gook? Is it from like Hankuk? Is it from like Kuk? Like
Where is it
know,
coming?
Kukbap?
Where does it come from? I don't know.
I don't know. I heard stuff, but
I heard it was from Koreans actually.
Kuk?
Yeah.
yeah, like when Americans came,
Like from
"Me
the
Gook, I'm a
Korean
Gook."
War.
But
So
I don't know
that's-
if that's true.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
And then that's
I
even
didn't
more
even-
racist.
I didn't
They
even-
just like coupled us all together and they're all gooks, you know?
I didn't
Right.
even bother to try to find out the origin meaning
Yeah,
of it.
it's just not.
I don't know. I had heard that. If someone knows, let us know on the replies.
Yeah,
okay?
leave it in the
origin of the
comments,
word gook.
comment.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. But anyway, so John McCain, I actually personally didn't really like him that much, but Obama, I thought he was like a cool guy, but I didn't like the how the media was fawning over him because I'm like, this is not deserved.
I
He's a
didn't like
nobody.
that part either.
Who's this guy? He just came out of nowhere.
Community organizer, right? That's
And,
what he was.
Well, what does that mean? You know, like I go to the community and organize.
Yeah,
to do
that's what he did. Yeah.
So it didn't make. I just thought, okay, he's being. I mean, anybody, if you kind of pay attention, it's just like this is not normal. This is something's going on behind the scenes to say like,
it was
hey,
very
let's promote this guy.
Yeah, it was.
So I
odd.
think I was just kind of against that. Like, okay, if that's what the media or the establishment, whatever you want to call it, if they want to promote him, then I'm like, all right, then naturally I'm just kind of against
it
that.
was true. I mean, they promoted the heck out of him, and all the negative news about him, it was all blacked out. Especially, I think there was an individual named Larry Sinclair who kind of had a press conference.
Larry Sinclair is the limo driver, right?
I think so.
He was a limo driver. Is he the one that accused Obama of doing gay stuff with him?
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah.
Okay, if I remember, maybe
was.
you know the story better, but maybe you should say it.
No, I think Larry Sinclair had a presser in Chicago, I believe.
I saw the press conference. Yeah,
I don't know. I think he was. I don't know whether he was a limo driver. I think he was more of a prostitute. I mean, that's how I remember it. But anyway, he said he was involved in that kind of behavior with Obama, and I think it hit the airwave. It did hit the news airwaves on the conservative side, but not on the media, the mainstream media. They would just completely black out all the negativity, and even the birther issue. Actually,
It's like Joe Biden.
Hillary Clinton raised that issue first, but I didn't like that too. I supported Obama back in 2008 and 2012, but I didn't like the fact that the mainstream media, they were all fawning over him, that he could do nothing, that he's a chosen one. They kind of treated him like he was a chosen one, right?
Now imagine if John McCain bombed Libya that way, the way that Obama did. If a white man bombed Africa the way that Obama
it would have been
did.
considered racist.
I
or there would have been
felt
something
Obama
like that, right?
put a very pleasant face on the American
yeah.
empire and was able to get away with a lot of things abroad that I may have been more difficult for, say, an old white man to do without any to do with getting resistance.
It comes to show that image really matters in politics. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
felt. When I think about Barack Obama, I read a lot of books about it.
Don't you think it's
the
like
image really
80% of everything?
Yeah,
Like,
and-
image?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest problems that Donald Trump had is image problem.
Image.
And I think it goes a long way, and which is sad. I would rather have people focus on the policies and the drone bombing and all that. I would want people to be more interested in that
It's a
and history of
popularity
Ukraine
contest
and all
now.
that, but they don't go into that, and they just like people. They want to see people who look presidential, who look cool. Obama, I think he does look cooler than any Hollywood stars. I give him that. Don't you
Right.
agree? I think he looks
Hey, he
cooler
was
than
the
any of the
first
Hollywood stars.
president to fist bump a janitor, so that's pretty cool.
And put a
Yeah.
basketball court in the White House.
Right,
And
I
also
mean,
have an
he does-
Escalade
he
as
does
the
have
presidential,
game, but
presidential car.
yeah, and actually his book came out too. It was a New York Times bestseller. He won Pulitzer Prize, I think, and his biography came out after his 2 term was over. And there's many things about Obama that we didn't know about. His
Good or bad?
relationship, some negative, some
some
and
good, some
he's a
bad.
Democrat. The writer was a Democrat, and nobody picked that up either. And I just couldn't. And it seems like
Right.
he's like Teflon. He can do nothing wrong, and
I think,
and that bothers
but no,
me.
but here's the thing: the thing that they bring up as his biggest scandal, it's not bombing a hospital in Afghanistan. It's not all these other things. It's not doing nothing during the BLM. It's not doing nothing during. He wore a brown suit. Remember when he wore a tan suit?
Yeah,
Like that's
remember
the thing. Like that's the thing they found to like. Okay, let's criticize him about
Yeah.
this. You
And-
know.
I do remember they did criticize Obama when he went to one NAACP event, and he said, "Folks, you should stop complaining, stop whining. You can find that." What he was saying is try to be
Yeah.
more diligent. To
Right, and then don't
and
forget
he got criticized for that.
Yeah, and then I don't think he got much criticism in the media for when he went to Flint, Michigan to deal
you're
with the
right.
water
He
thing.
just sipped it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think he drank it? I don't think he drank it. He just touched it.
who knows?
with
Well, I
his
mean,
lips.
obviously he doesn't want to drink it, dude. There's some more stuff that you wanted to cover. in
Yeah,
your
I want
notes,
to cover
right?
one thing before we go to the break. Before the
Okay,
break.
yeah, go ahead.
So I want to finish my point about the voting. So you see, we're back to the voting thing again, right? Because the guy left the comment.
Which
So
was a
I'm
great
saying
comment because we came
right.
up with this.
The
comment.
voting. So you see, what did voting do? Even if you look at slavery in this country, we did not vote it away. Even the founding of the United States of America, we didn't vote to, it was a violent revolution against, King George. So
Revolt?
Change does not come from voting. Voting is like, again, it's a game. You want change, you have to do more than just vote.
Protest.
You can't. Well, does that
It's a God-given constitutional right.
No, I think what Michael is saying is, I think it's a very passive thing in a way. I'm just
Yeah,
voting
a
is
lot of
something that,
people,
right?
a lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna vote, put on my little I voted sticker. That's that. I'm a good citizen. My job is done.
It's not as easy as that.
No,
Yeah.
that's not it.
Yeah,
So some people think voting is, all you have to do to be a good citizen. Vote. That's it. No. I think it's, rights and, making things better. Like these are things that people have to fight for, whether, protesting or whatever. I don't know what other means, or maybe like the guy Alexander Kim who was here. You got to hire a lobbyist.
The way
to get the change you
Yeah,
want.
that's what I'm saying. Voting is one of the things, but then you also have to go out to the school curriculum meetings to go out there and voice your opinions on what's happening. Just like in North Hollywood, there are teachers. I mean, there are students and there's parents who are not for some of the education policies that they're trying to inject into the LAUSD education system, and they're fighting for those rights. So I think you're saying that there's more to it than just going out there and putting a stamp and a little Instagram picture saying that I voted. Ha!
Oh yeah, all those filters and things that you get to show that you voted.
creating a movement from ground up, right? Not
Sure,
just,
I guess,
not
yeah.
just the ending, just the voting, and
I
think that's it.
agree that the Korean American community and the Asian American community need to focus on stuff
do,
like that
yeah.
too.
And it would be nice to have more Koreans in Congress, in the Senate, whatever. But again, don't expect much. But yeah, it's good to have a voice there.
Okay, and in that point, you're saying that they might get voted up there and they might just become a part of the system that's already been running for the last 100 years or so.
Anybody, no matter what ethnicity or background they are, once they become a politician and they become elected, whether Republican or Democrat, are they going to be loyal to their actual
That's true.
community
You're right,
that they're
you're
supposed to
right.
represent, or are they going to be loyal to the party? And who's the party loyal to? The people that vote for the party or the sponsors
That fund
of the
it.
party?
Yep, exactly. That's a capitalist society. We're going to be back right after this.
잠깐만요. 아, 엘리베이터 내가 잡아놨어. 빨리 다치기 전에 빨리 와. 빨리. 진짜 아까 그 사람 찾으면 우리 늦었어.
그니까 진짜 엘리베이터 잡아서 너무 높아. 내가 진짜 밥 살게.
근데 나 요즘 속이 안 좋아가지고. 모르겠어.
왜 이래? 내가 도와줘 줄까?
근데 면접 끝나고 이렇게 맛있는 거 먹고
시작하자고.
소화제 먹고 맛있는 거 먹자. 조금 괜찮은 것 같기도 하고 잘 모르겠다.
So next week is going to be on my PSA.
Oh, yeah.
And then the week after, we're hoping
gonna
for
be Michael Kim.
Michael Kim to come out on the PSA.
Uh-huh.
You could just be yourself. Be the boss.
You know.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so he's gonna play CEO.
No,
Yeah.
I have
He
to
just
see,
said it.
I have to see the script first.
Okay.
I don't
He
know,
already
what am I
said
gonna
it.
do in there?
Okay.
We already have you on record
Script has
saying
to be
that.
good,
Oh yeah.
right? It has to be good and tight.
Don't worry, we'll make you look awesome.
I don't need to look awesome. I can just look like myself. Yeah. But I want to know what the concept is. Yeah.
But so the next one is going to be a PSA. It's going to be more of a thriller style, and Michael Wan, he's the antagonist. He's
he's a protagonist.
I'm just the dad.
Yeah.
And then we have another member of our Radio Korea family who's going to be my daughter.
She
so
was
it's
good.
going to be fun. She
I
was
think
not bad. She was not
yeah,
bad.
the
But don't
acting-
try to don't try to like blow it up right now, because people are going to expect some stuff, and when they watch it, they're going to be disappointed. I'd rather just not expect anything and be enlightened than to expect something and be disappointed. Right?
You can all watch it exactly on Monday.
Monday,
at
next
7,
episode.
I hope so. I hope sound is done by then.
Around 7:30 p.m. That's gonna hit.
I'm
so
Airwaves,
nervous.
right? Okay, so Michael, you were talking about
we were talking about
the voting,
politics,
and why,
whatever.
and one of the users, they commented why you didn't participate in voting, but you were saying
Yeah, so
voting is not the most active thing. There are much more important things that we should do when we participate in this discourse. Right?
Yeah, but I wasn't going to get into that part, but I was going to get into more of like the voting and money and politics. So
Money and politics.
yes, was it? Yeah, recently we had on George Gascon,
Yes,
right?
we did.
The controversial LA
very
County District
controversial.
Attorney. You know,
Go ahead.
I know he gets a lot of hate, and actually, initially, I kind of like in the beginning, I kind of support him. I'm like, okay, this is something new. Jackie Lacey, his predecessor,
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of her, and then I had kind of had some high hopes for Gascon, and then I guess crimes against Asians also that bothers me, and then hearing all these other things, and I'm like, okay, this is a problem. And then I was glad that we were able to get him on this program, and I listened to him, and to hear it was good to hear from him directly, and I think it cleared up a lot of things I had thought about. But again, there were some things I found that he said were problematic. But one of the things that
What was it?
one of the things that the questions that you asked him, which I thought was like, pretty good, was you asked him about the George Soros thing, right?
Yeah.
And he came back with the which I've mentioned before, is like, well, what about the Koch brothers, right? So going back to the voting thing, George Soros, he's like a big player, supports the Democrats, but the Republicans have other billionaires that support them too.
And one of the reasons why you think voting doesn't really change the needle because of those big power players, right?
Right. So George Gascon, he also brought up Citizens United, which, for people who aren't aware, and I might not be explaining it the best way, there's like the Supreme Court case in like 2010 where there's this conservative nonprofit like group or whatever. It's called Citizens United. They wanted to play some Hillary movie or something during the 2008 election or something, but something wasn't right, whatever. Anyway, this case went to the Supreme Court, and the way that it was ruled, it was basically that now corporations have the same right as individuals for political speech.
Yes.
So now corporations can spend unlimited amounts of money on backing or promoting or opposing candidates. So
Which opened up PACs, right?
right. So if George Soros is doing all this, well, hey, it's a conservative group that helped pave the way for this. So that's one thing that we have to look at. And then I also looked up myself to see like who were the biggest political donors in this country. So I looked up the list of top 25, and it was something like 60% of them were Republican or conservative. So even though George Soros was at the top,
So he is number one.
on the particular list that I saw, I didn't
I know
vet
he
it.
is number one.
He is number one.
Undoubtedly the king of.
You know who number two is?
Schenken, right?
Uline. You know Uline? The big
Uline,
warehouse?
the
Uline. They have those big
the
cattle.
industrial.
The head of
yeah.
that. His name is actually Uline. He spells it
They make
differently
like
though.
kitchen or manufacturing
All kinds of
equipment.
stuff, right, yeah.
Like
Who's that,
uniforms.
He's the
everything.
number two guy.
Who's that?
Oh, wow.
Digital currency guy who was involved in
Satoshi? No.
Not the Bitcoin dude.
Oh, the
Shemkin? Man, I forgot his name.
I don't know, but anyway, it was like 60% of them were. So I'm like, it's
Sam
the guy who got
Bankman-Friedman.
busted, right?
Sam
The guy who got
Bankman-Friedman.
busted. But that guy's a fraud,
That
though.
dude is number 2 on the.
Well, you know, that guy's a
Democrat
fraud.
side, but anyway,
But anyway, it was. So I looked at it. I'm like, okay, so it's like more or less like kind of in the middle-ish.
Was like Elon Musk anywhere in there?
I didn't see him. He
No,
was
but
on there.
I think other players don't get near the influence of George Soros is because not just politics, he also feeds money to like MoveOn.org or PolitiFact, these fact checkers, and I think he's much more
So he's
wider in his
so he-
influence, and his kids are also his kids,
Involving
Alexander
information.
Soros went to White House like I think 18 times already. Even yesterday there was a report. It wasn't scheduled, but he had a meeting.
who?
Alexander Soros.
Oh, okay.
With
at the
Kamala
White
Harris
House. At the
yesterday.
White House. Okay.
Yeah.
With
So I think
Harris,
they
huh?
have tremendous. Yeah, they have tremendous influence. Okay,
No,
they-
he has tremendous influence, of course, but I'm saying he's not the one, the god of,
yeah,
he's
of
not the
course,
god
there's
of the
other
country
side,
that's
too.
doing
But
everything.
his name seems to come out a lot on things involving information to the masses. That's what's concerning, I think,
And what I have issue with is these mainstream media, like for instance, New York Times, the so-called paper of record. They always carry waters for George Soros. They always
Water?
say, what I'm saying is they always are super protective of George Soros.
Oh.
They always come up with these articles and saying, "Hey, it's not true." Soros says don't.
Yeah. It's like
I don't like that.
It's like almost being defensive before the tide even comes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I do see a little bit of that.
And I know the left wing have been bashing the Koch brothers a lot, and Koch brothers, they were very influential, but one of them died, and I don't think they're as half as influential. I don't hear a lot of Koch brothers stories on the conservative side.
But again, these are just like individuals here. There's thousands of rich
of
people like
course,
this.
yeah.
And then you have to think of all the banks and the military industrial complex, all these big companies that also influence politics. George Soros, he's probably the most well-known player, but again, he's just one player among others. So he's like maybe the Michael Jordan.
He's a
But,
Michael Jordan, of it, without a doubt.
there are other, there's a Magic Johnson, there's a Larry Bird, there's all these other players too. So, I just wanted to just bring that up. So, basically, the Citizens United thing, going back to that. So how are everyday individuals who, one person, one vote, now suddenly it's more like $1, one vote.
It's like that. You're
Now,
right.
if the average American only has like, let's say $500 in their bank account, and you got Soros or Koch or Uline or whoever, and they have billions, they can buy out millions of Americans' votes.
Yeah. You know what?
So it cancels out the will of the majority of the American people in favor of the will of a small group of people.
Yeah. I
So
think it happened.
is that democracy?
Like even in the last election cycle, since you mentioned it, I think Mark Zuckerberg spent $419 million in these swing counties. So that swinged a lot of votes. So you're right. It's not just one vote, one person, one vote anymore. I think the more money you have, the more influence you have, and you can change
Right.
people's minds. And I think it's a tragedy too. I do. But that's why I bash the mainstream media a lot, like
Right.
habitually, because they have so much power over so many people.
And if you think of all the billions that are spent in politics and on elections and all these smear campaigns, and imagine if all that money was used to like improve like local communities, like look outside here in Koreatown, all the roads, the bumpy roads and the dirty streets. I mean,
I
there's
want
a
to
lot we
ask
can
why.
fix
Why
here.
is that? Why does that happen when when we boast of how rich we are and how much money, how big of an economy California possesses, and how big of a part Los Angeles or Southern California in general plays in that whole economic structure?
Yeah,
and then we see the roads and it looks like crap. And right when you get into Los Angeles, the heart of Los Angeles, that's where it gets the worst.
Yes, you're right. And when I come to Radio Korea, I go through sometimes South LA, and I see a lot of prostitutes and all kinds of
Dude,
all
they're
kinds
just
of
like
stuff,
straight up
throughout
walking on the streets of Figueroa with no underwear.
these ghost town, and I'm telling. Sometimes I imagine this. What if Warren Buffett, out of all people, what if he just drops like a couple billion? It would really completely change the fabric
Right.
of that community. I think about those, and these people, they claim to be philanthropists, and they do all kinds of charity work. But I'm saying I don't see the people's lives changing.
Because they're getting a fraction of that money that's been donated.
It hits a news wave.
We should all.
Bill Gates is spending this much for
right.
charity.
You got all these billionaires spending so much billions on philanthropy and helping others, right? Imagine if we lived in a world where we didn't have to rely on philanthropy, like where that wasn't even necessary. So in my mind, I see like philanthropy as the things that billionaires do. Like, all right, before they try to come after my assets or whatever, let me just, portray myself as a philanthropist, throw a few billion here, a small portion of this, and I don't know, maybe they see it as kind of like a sort of protection or insurance against potential, I don't know, like seizing of all their assets or something like that.
There's like tax breaks too.
I mean,
Right.
So I think it really comes to show that you're right. Capitalism is not perfect. There's crony capitalism, and I think
I wasn't talking about capitalism,
yeah,
but yeah,
but what I'm
capitalism.
saying is,
This
I
is
think
capitalism, right? Yeah.
this is the downside of it. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
because I see the disparity of it. I mean, it's really some area. It looks like third world. I mean, it's in America, like West LA, Beverly Hills. It looks so fancy there, and then if you go to like South LA,
just
some
drive
parts of
from
it-
Crenshaw all the way down from PCH, and then drive all the way up Crenshaw to K-Town, and then go through some of the central areas, and then you'll see this change, like in atmosphere and ambience, everything. You'll see this wonderful neighborhood, and you'll be like, oh, this is such a nice place, and it'll start turning darker as soon as you reach Gardena, and then right after you pass Gardena and get into like Inglewood, some of these areas, it gets darker and
does,
darker,
yeah,
more
yeah.
trash on the streets, more bad roads, and then you go through a section with prostitutes and this and that, and you come up to K-Town.
Yeah. And
That's how it is.
It's very jarring to see these billionaires always being praised. I don't think billionaires are bashed that much, except for probably Elon Musk, that they're spending so much money. And I think that's bothers me.
Can I just add something in there? It's also the billionaires and also people posing to be philanthropists, and a lot of these non-profit, quote unquote, non-profit organizations that these billionaires support, which actually happens to be organizations with people that they support, because they take all the paychecks and every expense out of it first, and then what's left is what's given to these actual organizations, which is a very, very small fraction. So you got to consider which philanthropy or which like nonprofit organization you're actually donating to.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. When it comes to billionaires, I think you said something about how billionaires are
Praised.
right? Yeah. So that is true, because I mean, really, under this system, which is capitalism, and it has its pluses and minuses. One of the minuses is that, well, in capitalism, what is what does everything revolve around? It revolves around the dollar, around
money.
Economic units, right? So that puts this idea of money above the idea of people and humanity and social welfare and all this stuff. So if you put money as the most important thing in your society, or the determining thing that decides everything else in how you operate your country and everything, then people are going to look, everyone's going to want money, because you need that money to not just survive, but if you have more, then you can have a comfortable life and do all kinds of fun things and experience all kinds of things. So people who have a lot of money are kind of looked up to as gods in a way.
I
Where they're like idols.
Yep.
So, I mean, I feel like, we do see them as, like, currently it's Elon Musk. He's like I think he's like the god of.
But isn't he being bashed a lot by the mainstream media too?
Well, he's being bashed big time.
He's being bashed by, I think, by liberal mainstream media.
Yeah, I think but I do remember Bill Gates was fawned over back in the day. Even
he
Donald
never really got
Trump
much criticism. Yeah.
But what about the subject of jobs or putting into the economy of that country? These billionaires do actually do a little bit of that. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Sure. I mean, under our system, who can create the jobs? It's either going to be the state government jobs
or the
private enterprise.
Yeah.
So it has to be. But what if somebody became a billionaire by firing everyone in the U.S. and then hiring a bunch of cheaper labor in India or somewhere, and then was able to get their products made more cheaply and everything, even shipping it back here, selling those same products back to Americans and making even more money and becoming a billionaire that way? Is that still good then?
Well, would you say that then Trump actually did a pretty good job and tried to bring those back?
I don't know specifically what he did.
It put tariffs on China.
Oh yeah,
back in the
tariffs
day.
on China.
And also, like he did say,
he
like
renegotiated all the free
like
trade
the air
deals that he thought
conditioning
was unfair.
company. You know, he did stop some. You know, even the mainstream kind of covered it. But I don't know.
I don't really
But
know
in
that-
the big picture, I don't know how much job he saved, to be honest. But
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of what he did
Or it could have just
what-
been a
yeah.
policy ploy.
But he
like
kind
a
of gave an
marketing
impression
ploy.
that he kind of cared about those Rust Belt jobs. That's why he won in the first
Yeah, I mean,
place,
that
right?
wasn't that.
Sure.
Did he do that? I'm saying
At
during his
least an
presidency?
impression. I don't know. I think it would have been. I don't think it was wise to go into a trade war with China. I think it would have been better to renegotiate or whatever with China. I don't think going into a trade war was good. And again, the trade war anyway, and that thing like blaming China for that.
Currency manipulation.
See, I don't know about currency
Okay.
manipulation.
Yeah, I thought you were going there. Okay.
No, yeah, about the moving the jobs to China and all this stuff. Like, it was not China that was doing that. China just opened up and said, "Hey, we're available." It was American.
And it was cheap
business.
labor. It was cheap.
I agree with Michael that fact. It wasn't China's fault. It was America's.
No, it was
policy's
cheap
fault.
labor.
It was America's policy fault.
It was
they
the-
started off like that.
Yeah, I
so,
mean,
yeah.
if you look at it long
It
term,
was, I mean, China just took advantage of it.
yeah, if you look at it long
That is
term,
true.
any
Yeah,
American
that's
could
true.
look at it
You're
long
right,
term
you're
and be
right,
like,
yeah,
"Hey,
on that one.
if we're going to ship all these jobs abroad, then where are all the Americans here going to work?" Because America used to manufacture everything.
They
didn't
did. Yes, yes.
What do we manufacture now? It's what, financial services,
Very-
Hollywood, military stuff. What else? I don't
Even-
know. Tourism. I don't know.
Even medicines, I heard that we're importing from China mostly. That we don't, manufacture it here.
Perhaps.
We manufacture
You remember,
cannabis.
Remember the government was giving out free COVID tests to everybody from the post office. I was really curious because I'm like, does the U.S. have the infrastructure to provide COVID kits to all
Yeah.
300
One would
it made in
think that
China?
they don't.
335 million Americans? So when I got it, I looked at it, I'm like, oh,
Made in
China.
China. Yeah.
There it is
Are
right
you
there.
serious? Wow.
The whole time they're saying all this crap about China. They're
funding
giving
China.
around the Chinese test kits.
I remember back in like 2000s, when I went to Walmart, everything was made in China and people loved it. The cheap products.
Remember,
they do.
everything
I
was
remember
made
that,
in
yeah.
Taiwan, and then it
Back
went
in
over to China.
80s, it was all made in Taiwan,
Yeah.
but then it switched to made in China, and people loved it. But as soon as like China rose up, and they're number 2 now, the number 2 money, they have number 2 money power in the world. So I think it became a threat, and I think Rust Belt did happen. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, all these jobs did go somewhere.
American workers
and-
suffered
Yeah, they did
greatly
suffer.
because
So,
of this,
yeah.
but we made a lot of billionaires. Right?
So I think I blame the Fed too, printing a lot of money, and most of that money, printed money, goes to the rich, right? It doesn't go to the bottom. So, it's tragic.
Well, anytime there's a financial crisis, you notice like certain people come out of it much wealthier.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
they
then other people, it's just like, it just kind of got a little worse for them.
I know.
And that happened in 2007, 2009, whatever that period.
And it happened.
And
It's
then
happening
again,
now.
during the COVID, everything that
It
happened during
happened
COVID.
Yeah,
it
the whole
happened again.
inflationary period.
So the next event or whatever happens, like, again, you're going to see the person, we might see the first trillionaire eventually. Like,
I think so. I think so.
Elon, who is it?
I
Musk
think
or
right now
Bezos?
number one is Elon Musk right now.
Who peaked like a year or two? Like, what was the highest? Was it like 250 billion or whatever it was? Eventually, we're gonna see a trillionaire.
And I think that's
We're gonna see a trillionaire, and we're still gonna see a bunch of. We're gonna see with the trillion. When we get that trillionaire,
We're gonna see more
You'll see a
homeless.
lot more homeless people
Yep.
then too.
Don't you think there's something wrong about that though?
What?
Right? A trillionaire and more poor people. There is
Even a
something wrong
billion.
about it, right?
Do you know how insane a billion is? We're talking 1,000 millions. 1,000 millionaires combined to make 1 billionaire.
So-
and these are people with not 1 billion, not 10 billion, but even 100 billion, hundreds of billions.
So if these
It's crazy.
Yeah, so if these billionaires came together and come up with some kind of system to help out these poor people, at least homeless or what, they could have, right? They could, right? But
They
they just
could.
don't want to.
If I just
They
had a million,
could.
I could get a house.
Yeah. $1 million to get a house. Yeah. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Like a trillion, billion, man, billion. Those are numbers that I can't even fathom.
These are people, they could spend Elon Musk could spend $1 billion a year for the rest of his life and he would still have like over 100 billion left over, wouldn't he?
You know, I have a billionaire friend.
You do?
Yeah, Travis Kalanick. He was the Uber founder.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
we
he's a
played
friend?
football together. We went to
Oh,
college.
libertarian,
okay.
I think.
But he doesn't answer emails.
Do you DM?
No,
Oh, he's not answering your
He's not my
email at
friend
all.
no more, dude. He has his own friends now. I mean, we weren't really friends. We were teammates, but
I think you know what's happening with these billionaires. I think they compete with each other. They want to top each
They
other.
do.
That's the impression I get.
I read that somewhere that they do look at the Forbes list and like,
Right,
oh shit,
right.
Number 5. Oh, I gotta be number 4. I gotta. It's a game.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm better
game.
than this dude. I think that's what it is. And so
I mean, don't you want to be better than like your
no, I wouldn't.
like,
No,
your coworkers?
To be
and
honest,
stuff?
like the monetary wise, I
Not
don't, I don't,
monetary, but
I
don't you want to break
yearn
stories
to become
and stuff?
a Forbes guy. I don't
know,
want to
mean,
be the Forbes
Don't you want to
400.
like do something bigger than the next guy?
Okay. I want to just talk about like Trump, for instance.
Okay.
He's a billionaire and he made it in the political world, right? And you saw a lot of these billionaires jumping into politics. I think they were jealous of Donald Trump. They thought they were better than him and they have more money than him. Like for
Like
instance,
Bloomberg too. I think there were talks about
Howard
Bloomberg.
Schultz, the Starbucks CEO, and also Bloomberg, and that's why they jumped in the political arena. And I think they have these ego thing going on. That's what I was trying to say.
I think I think people who want to make money. So when you're younger, it's more like I want cars, I want girls,
Yeah.
I want to party, maybe do drugs, whatever, right? And then as you get older, you live all that, then maybe you have your own family, you settle down in this, and you're like, okay, what else do I do? I play golf, I play polo, I do all this, I have a yacht. Well, what's more exciting than politics?
That's true.
To control the
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
to dictate policy. So Donald Trump just kind of went out there and was like, I'm going to be president. But even before then, behind the scenes, there was a bunch of billionaires donating money,
Yep,
putting
yep,
money and
yep.
supporting causes they wanted. So I don't know. After Donald Trump, maybe I'm not aware, but I guess more came out in public to openly run. Yeah, like Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, yes.
And
That was a flopper.
Rick Caruso, you're right.
the Democrat.
You're right, Rick Caruso too.
Yeah.
And I think it became a competition, and I don't know. I think it's an ego thing right now.
I'm still at the money stage. Just a down payment on a house is good for me.
Yeah.
But regardless, I could totally understand when you have that much money and you have all these things around you. It's kind of a superiority complex too, because once you gain that money and you have that power, you have yes men all around you that are,
I mean, even
Yeah.
floating your boat basically.
even Arnold Schwarzenegger. We talked with the
Right.
the director. What they said, the impression that they got was Arnold had much more fun in the political arena compared to his movie
Right.
star.
Yeah. It's exciting.
I mean, you're controlling a state.
yeah,
He said that was his highlight of his life.
Politics is much more exciting and real and dangerous than anything you see on a screen.
Yeah.
Like
That's
anything
true.
in Hollywood can make. Politics can be much crazier. Global affairs, things like that. But I just want to throw out an idea out there about this massive wealth gap and people with like $100 billion. We have like something like minimum wage, right? What about if there was like a maximum like level that people could reach? Like,
It's like a union.
well, I mean, like if you reach $1 billion, like
You have to give it out.
that's all you get. You can be a
Oh,
billionaire.
you put a cap.
Like you
right?
can't be a multi-billionaire. You could be a billionaire, but you can't be a multi-billionaire.
That would be communist.
I don't think that would be a communist, but I think isn't like some Scandinavian countries kind of doing that? Put a whole bunch of tax to these
I
rich
think-
people and kind of spread
Like
a
the
rich
wealth
tax,
a little
right?
bit.
I think there are. I think they're known for having higher taxes, but better
But-
social programs
but-
and things.
But when you think about it, you create this thing, and then you took all the risk, you put all the plans together, and you grew this company from a $10,000 company to a $1 billion company, for example. And now they want to take half.
So
That doesn't sound that
I
fair
mean,
either,
There was news
Right.
like Apple had more cash than the United States government.
Wow.
So when I read that, I felt there was something wrong about that. One company having more cash than the entire state.
Yeah,
United
right.
States.
And to John's point, or Young's point, Young John Kim,
Yeah.
Young John Kim's point about
his real
if
name.
you start a business and it's kind of unfair, right? But if
I understand, though.
no, I'm saying, okay, that's the rights of one person, right? But if you have millions of people across the country that are suffering, and you can still be a billionaire, I mean,
I know. What are you going to do with $1 billion?
but-
You know what I mean?
but it's like, well, what? I mean, what other solutions do we like? Is there anything we can do? So, Anyway, I think we gotta end soon.
Any last words you want to?
Last words?
Say?
Like and subscribe. Watch Culture Shock. Watch these two guys here, and I'll be back in a few more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great,
we should
Michael.
Continue our talk.
I really like this
Yeah.
talk. It was like the 50th episode, and to have you on there, come
Very
out,
special.
and you can come out on the 100th episode. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Okay.
No, come more often.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you again.
Thank you very much.